The Other Wise Man by Henry Van Dicke.
Artaban was one of the Magi, a group of people who were seeking the sign of the birth of a king among the Jews. When they found the star in the heavens, they got ready to find him. Artaban prepared 3 gifts for the king: a sapphire, a ruby, and a pearl of great price. Artaban was excited to pursue and complete this trip. On the way to joining his companions for the journey across the desert, Artaban encountered a dying man. He stopped to help the man, but this caused Artaban to miss the departure of his friends. They left without him. Stuck with only his horse, Artaban sold the sapphire to buy a train of camels and provisions for his journey. "I may never overtake my friends," he said. "Only God the merciful knows whether I shall not lose the sight of the king because I tarried to show mercy." By the time he arrived in Bethlehem, it was too late. A woman whom he encountered singing softly to her child told him that he missed his friends by 3 days. She also told him that the child he sought had fled to Egypt with his parents for some reason. Soon the reason was apparent. Herod's soldiers showed up in the village to kill all the young children.
Stunned, the mother took the child in her arms, her face white with terror. Artaban, realizing that he could do for her, stood in the doorway of her humble home and spoke to the soldier that approached. "There's no one in this place but me, and I'm waiting to give this jewel to the prudent captain who will lead me in peace." It was enough. The greedy soldier took the jewel and ordered his men to march on. The woman's child was spared by the red ruby. Artaban traveled to Egypt in search of the child king, but he couldn't find him. Knowing the child would grow into a man who would minister the poor and needy, Artaban searched among people who were living in famine and sickness. He visited prisons, slave markets, and workhouses. He fed the hungry and clothed the naked, and healed the sick and comforted the captive, and his years went by more swiftly than the weaver's shuttle that flashes back and forth through the loom while the web grows and the invisible pattern is completed. After 33 years, Artaban, now an old man, found himself in Jerusalem, still looking for his king. When he arrived, he noticed that the city was in uproar over something. He asked a person passing by who explained what was happening. Pilate had sentenced a man to be crucified next to 2 thieves. The man, named Jesus of Nazareth, had done so many marvelous works and miracles among people, claiming to be the Son of God, that Pilate called him the King of the Jews.
Struck by the name, Artaban wondered if this was the man he was looking for. He reached for his last treasure, the pearl of great price. Perhaps there was still time for him to give the pearl before Jesus died on the cross. He began moving toward a hill called Golgotha, when suddenly he saw a young girl being carried away captive. She broke free and ran to him. Kneeling and clutching his knees, she begged him to help her. Her father had died in debt, and his creditors had seized the girl to sell into slavery to pay the debts. Artaban had compassion on the girl and rescued her with his last treasure, the pearl of great price. Suddenly, an earthquake struck the city. The sky darkened and lightning flashed everywhere. It was the sign of Christ's death. As the city shook, Artaban was struck by a falling roof tile. There in the street, the young girl sat with him as his life began to fade. She heard him say, as if to nobody, "Not so, my lord, for when saw I thee an hungered, and fed thee, or thirsty, and gave thee drink? When saw I thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? When saw I thee sick, or in prison, and came unto thee? 33 years have I looked for thee, but I have never seen thy face, nor ministered to thee, my king. Suddenly Artaban's face brightened, and he breathed his last breath in calm relief. His journey was ended, his treasures were accepted. The other wise man had found the king.